In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace your alternator on your Ford Taurus. It's located under the hood on the passenger side. Using an 8mm socket or wrench, you're going to disconnect your negative battery terminal. Loosen it, and then put it off to the side. Make sure it's not touching any metal. I'm using a 15mm wrench to loosen my tensioner. You're going to slide it towards the front of the car, and then you're going to take your belt off, the idler pulley. Once you've accomplished that, you're going to let it go back. Be careful of your fingers. All right. So now, I'm just going to push this down and get it out of our way, because we're not taking the belt completely off if we don't need to. It's a good time to inspect your belt, make sure it looks good. All right, so now we should disconnect our alternator. You're going to want to use a flathead screwdriver, push down the tab on your connector, and that should come right up. And now we can take a 10mm socket and disconnect the alternator. You can put that off to the side and put your nut somewhere else. All right, we are now going to loosen our 15mm. Using a 14mm socket, you're going to loosen this bolt for this bracket. And you can take that right out. Using a 13mm short socket, I'm going to loosen up the other bolt on the other side of the alternator. You can put that bolt to the side. So at this point, in order to get the alternator out, we need to be able to get this bolt all the way through. And unfortunately, this reservoir is in our way. So right about here is where the bolt is going to hit, and then you're not going to be able to get the bolt out enough to get the alternator out. So what we're going to do is move this reservoir slightly, just shift it out of the way just to get that bolt out and get it back in with the new alternator. I'm going to use a 10mm socket for this bolt and then there's just a little plastic bracket over here that you slide it out of. Using a shorter socket for this bolt, same 10mm though. Put your bolt off to the side. Okay, I am going to try to take my bolt out at this point. This might give me enough movement without having to disrupt anything else, since I'm having a hard time with my bolt. If you can get this bolt out without any issue, you're better off just getting it out completely and then moving the reservoir off to the side. I'm going to move my hose clamp right out of the way. All right, let's see if that's enough to get this out. You also need to pry it past your motor mount over here. Let's use a pry bar, move that out of the way. All right, so you're going to want to walk it back and forth. It's a pretty tight squeeze. Careful of your power steering line. And now you can take it out. Here we are, we're going to put our alternator in. All right, once you get your alternator lined up at this hole, you can drop it down. And we're going to put our other bolt in. So at this point, we're going to back off our bolt if you went too far and slide this bracket in. Put that nut on, and now you can snug up this bolt. And tighten up the bracket bolt on the top using a 13mm socket. And then going down below to tighten that one up. All right, you're going to want to torque this brace nut to 18 foot-pounds. And this lower bolt is also 18 foot-pounds. And this bolt is 35 foot-pounds. So now we're going to connect our connectors. I'm going to push on your first connector there, and this one, you're going to need a 10mm to tighten it. To give you a new nut to take that one off. Put it down. Hand tighten first. About wrist tight. All right, so then you're going to torque this down to 71 inch-pounds. And put the boot back on. So now we have our alternator all set. Put our hose clamp back. If you did take your entire reservoir out, don't forget to put this bolt in, the one that won't come out for us. And now you can lift your reservoir back up. Line up that hole. now we can put our belt back on. I'm using my own belt diagram that I've created for myself to reinstall our belt. All right, I'm getting my 15mm wrench on there. You can either put a pole or another wrench if you need to. Once you get your tensioner pulled back, you can slide it on that alternator. And then on your idler pulley, make sure everything's on. And let go. You're going to take your negative battery terminal and put it on. Push it down. And use an 8mm socket. And tighten it wrist tight. Make sure it's not moving. All right, so now you're going to start your vehicle. Make sure everything's running good and sounds good. Make sure the belt isn't squeaking. Everything sounds good, then you can take it for a road test.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.